Things really hit the fan in Season 7, Episode 7 of The Real Housewives of Miami. Just when we thought the drama might slow down, after Guerdy's heartfelt party celebrating her survival from cancer, she pulled a move that instantly stole attention, and not in a good way. The episode, fittingly titled Textual Tension, turned what could have been a beautiful moment into one of the messiest situations we've seen on the show in years. Let's break it down. It all starts with Guerdy's celebration of life party. It was supposed to be intimate, emotional, and meaningful, a way for her to thank her loved ones and honor her journey through cancer treatment. Dressed in an elaborate white gown that made her look like a couture swan, Guerdy opened the evening with a touching speech about how the battle with cancer changed her life and gave her a new sense of purpose. She even gave a generous check to a cancer charity, praised her husband Russell for being her rock, and recognized her 2 sons. It was emotional and inspiring. Everyone was tearing up. You could feel the love in the room. But then, in classic Housewives fashion, the mood changed completely. With the sentimental part of the evening done, and Russell headed home with the kids, Guerdy picked up the mic again, and this time she wasn't talking about gratitude or healing. She had receipts, literal text messages projected on big screens behind her. These were private messages between her and Julia, all related to an argument about a cruise no one watching the show even really remembers or cares about. She told the group that she wanted to bring clarity to the situation, to clear up rumors, lies, and misunderstandings. But what she actually did was dump a screen full of lengthy texts that nobody, including Larsa, really wanted to read. It was a mess. Larsa admitted she gave up trying to make sense of it after the second sentence, and honestly, same. A producer asked Guerdy in a confessional what exactly the big reveal was supposed to prove. Her response: that Julia invited her on the cruise, not the other way around. That's it. That was the whole reason for the dramatic PowerPoint-like display. While she technically proved that detail, it wasn't even the main issue in their fight. The bigger problem was what happened on the boat, how they acted toward each other, not who sent the first invite. The whole scene felt way over the top. It actually reminded fans other iconic Real Housewives moments where someone with the moral high ground managed to lose it all in one crazy stunt. Like Brandi Glanville going too far and suddenly becoming the villain. Guerdy had what we now jokingly call Brandi Glanville disease. She was right, but she still ended up looking wrong because of how she handled it. And things had been looking good between Guerdy and Julia just minutes earlier. In a flashback to before the text reveal, Guerdy had a talk with her husband Russell. He told her he'd spoken to Julia, and that Julia seemed to think they were making progress. But Guerdy didn't buy it. She was upset that Julia had brought up their beef again in front of the group at Alexia's goddess-themed gathering. Guerdy thought they'd agreed to move on and deal with things privately. Instead of confronting Julia in a more reasonable, private setting, she chose to go nuclear with a public call-out. Guerdy defended her actions by calling it a slap on the wrist. But come on, that wasn't a slap on the wrist. That was a full-on public shaming. Like waving someone's dirty laundry in front of a group of people who have no idea what's going on. Guerdy claims the goal wasn't to prove who was right or wrong, but to help the group move forward in a positive, truthful manner. Then, in the most awkward tonal shift ever, she introduced a shirtless contortionist named Rocky Lanes to perform at the party. The rest of the women were stunned, and not in a good way. Marisol called the stunt dirty. Julia was offended and said it was completely tasteless. Larsa wondered why Guerdy would drag the entire party into a petty fight they weren't even part of. Stephanie, who was trying to be neutral, thought the evening should have remained focused on celebrating life, not rehashing drama. Brian Moylan, the show's narrator of sorts, had the best point yet. If you're going to air out someone's texts in public, at least don't read it from your phone. It just makes you look both petty and clueless. The moment triggered a chain reaction. Marisol, Alexia, Larsa, and Julia all decided to leave the party early. They went outside to talk, with Marisol summing it up, this was public humiliation, plain and simple. And once you go that far, there's no coming back. Whatever friendship Guerdy and Julia had, it's pretty much dead now. The sad thing, Guerdy was in the right, at least at first. Julia really did act out on the cruise. She threw water on Guerdy and blew up during the group talk. And she was wrong to bring the drama up again at the goddess party. But instead of holding onto that moral high ground, Guerdy nuked it. The only thing people will remember from now on is that she exposed private texts on a big screen. This whole stunt also sent a chill through the rest of the group. Or, Alexia said she doesn't like texting anymore, reminding everyone of Dorinda Medley's classic advice, say it, forget it. Write it, regret it. Now that text messages can become public property at any time, the ladies might stop sending them entirely. That could really mess with how the show functions behind the scenes. No receipts means less drama fuel. Meanwhile, the party fallout started to fracture more friendships. Stephanie tried to be neutral, saying she wanted to hear Guerdy's side of the story. But Alexia lost it and accused her of kissing Guerdy's ass. The real reason Alexia was upset. Stephanie keeps bringing up her relationship drama with Todd. Alexia tried to turn it around by threatening to expose things about Stephanie's husband, except there's literally nothing scandalous to expose. Todd's the one who ghosted Alexia, skipped out on the divorce, and then came crawling back. It's normal for people to talk about that. Adriana, surprisingly siding with Guerdy, went outside to tell Julia to pull up her own texts. But why bother? They're the same texts, just from the other side of the chat bubble. Adriana encouraged Julia to speak her truth, but the truth isn't even the issue anymore. It's the method. Julia refused to stoop to Guerdy's level. That refusal, ironically, made her look way better in the moment. Inside, Guerdy clung to the idea that it was her party and she could do what she wanted. Technically, yes. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Her mic drop moment might have felt empowering, but it made her look like the villain. It's the same misstep Kenya Moore made at her salon opening when she publicly embarrassed a rival. It never ends well. The main issue with these over the top public takedowns is that they leave no room for resolution. The person being shamed doesn't get to defend themselves. It's not a conversation, it's a hit job. And that's exactly how it came off. In the end, viewers weren't thinking about Guerdy's triumph over cancer or how strong she's been. They were thinking about Julia's emotional breakdown as she left the party, called her wife Martina for support, and silently cried in the back of a car. That's what stuck with people. That's the image that closed out the episode. So yes, Julia may have been wrong on the cruise, but she left this episode with the audience's sympathy. And Guerdy, despite her good intentions and rightful frustrations, ended up looking like the mean girl. That's the problem with Housewives drama. You can win the argument and still lose the war.